Hello, and welcome to a very stripped down edition of the podcast. Hubert is under the weather. Mom and fun uncle, Blood and Dawn, are out of town.
Don's fun uncle.
Dawn is fun uncle, or weird like uncle, maybe.
Nice.
Gabby is, it's Saturday, so I just didn't want to, be like, hey, do extra crap. So it's down to me and it's down to Damiani, and we are gonna do the podcast. You thought Damiani was fun uncle? They're all fun uncles.
There's multiple uncles, I guess.
We're a lucky family. We've got a lot of fun uncles.
Yeah. I just noticed we had viewer rewards set still on our thing, because when I looked at chat, it did the notification. So long story short, I took it off.
I went live before I changed it off of 14, so that might have been why.
Yeah, so I was like, "Oh, are you gonna get some 14 rewards while watching our podcast?" I was like, "I think that might be against the rules, so let me remove that tag so you don't get yelled at."
Probably not allowed. We could throw in some Warframe drops too while we're at it.
There you go. We're gonna give you some free Warframe stuff. Yeah.
Sea of Thieves drops, Warframe drops. Get it. Mm-hmm. You can get it in the comments section too. Anyway, we're here to talk about what's new, what's news, and what we've been playing. I am Isla Hink. We're Easy Allies. I'm joined by Michael Damiani.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a good weekend wherever you are.
Yeah. This week, we're talking about the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. Damiani is going to tell us all about Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail. We're talking about Luigi's Mansion 2, and the patrons are bestowing upon us the top 10 trains, which I'm very excited about.
Oh, boy, yes.
I'm very excited.
All right. Trains, I can't wait to hear. We'll see. We'll save it. I'll save it. Sorry, I'll save it.
All right, yeah, save it. I'm noticing here that Blood sent me emails with more information that I never looked at about these topics.
This is how the podcast works in the evolved form, is that we get the information sent to us as we're live, but we're not quick enough. Blood's got a system where he's just doing everything in real time. He's like a machine. But
it comes at us fast.
Yeah, we don't have that type of skill. So this is what the podcast is like when Blood isn't around.
And it's also because we didn't know if Hubert was going to be functional and hosting this until 10 minutes ago. So here we go. Anyway,
maybe we'll get some emails from Hubert too.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
There's a non-zero chance he'll just
he'll just show up and jump in, and it's like, all right, guys,
screw up all my windows. Okay, I'm gonna play Damiani. I guess you'll have to see this on the stream if you want to see it, but we've got the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster.
Oh, yes. I saw a bit of this.
Yeah, so it's got improved graphics, up to a 4K resolution with 60 FPS frame rate, which is good. Updated character models, high-end character models for Frank West, the unhinged psychopaths, NPCs like Brad, Jesse, Isabella, and the beloved Madonna, survivors of the outbreak, and seemingly endless waves of zombies. Then it says, hola, bonjour, ciao. For the first time, Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster comes fully packed with voiceovers for all characters in 9 different languages, including English, Latin American Spanish, Brazilian Portuguese, Japanese, French, Italian, German, Castilian Spanish, and Russian. Nice. They also have subtitles across 14 languages. The aforementioned 9 plus Korean, traditional Chinese, simplified Chinese, Polish, and Arabic. And then it says, como se dice, wow.
Oh, how do you say wow?
Yeah. This is a fun email.
Como se dice wow? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't speak Spanish, so I don't know if I said that right. But I know how to say tres leches in esta economía. There's that.
Yeah. It's not, I'm very curious about the quality of life. Obviously, we could see the visual difference. Topic. Oh, okay. You have a list? Do you want to go through, or Sorry, I didn't know if you wanted.
I mean, I'm interested because I haven't really played this too much except for at like
That's the
friends'
thing.
houses in college.
I played it with Huber. We went through, it was like, what was it, one or two? I forget. I've gone through one of them with Huber, and then I played the not Frank West version, the alternate version. I think
Right.
of one or two at like back at Game Trailers. But when they say, obviously, so like you're using RE Engine for the new visuals, and like even just from screenshots, it looks so much better.
Yeah.
So I will say like that's fantastic looking. I don't know if anyone has any complaints about like the aesthetic changing. I just think it looks, it took what it was good, like it felt like it looked like back in the day, and just makes it look like that now.
Yeah.
So you don't look at something dated, but maybe some people have, qualms with
Well, and like we
the
always say,
aesthetic.
it doesn't erase the old one, you know?
Yeah. And honestly, I don't know if they have a toggle between graphics mode or not. I'm not
Oh,
seeing that. I'm looking at the Steam page and don't see that.
I can
But I
check in
mean,
the email here.
it would be nice if they had it, but if they don't, no worries. The thing I'm more curious about are the quality of life updates, because they say they're talking about changing the improvements to the game. They're like, the gameplay of the original remains intact, but there's various quality of life, like auto saving, new
Yeah.
controls, new UI. So like the UI, I imagine is gonna be like good, because they'll probably show things you couldn't, you probably wanted to see before. I guess the auto saving is the only thing I'm curious about. And that's where I would like wish, have some, like Huber's thoughts, because he
Yeah.
loves these games. And I think he loves like the intent of these games, that it is like a 72-hour window and there are stakes. So if there's like auto saving, is that going to reduce some of the stakes and, make it a little easier? Or does it still retain that the essence and just remove some of the frustration that maybe, like, guess the game maybe went a little too far in the original incarnation?
Yeah, so it says that it has autosave functionality. Need a bathroom break? Don't worry, manual saves are still available. Which is good. Yeah, other quality of life stuff. Frank West now has the ability to move while aiming, which is good. Aspiring photojournalists can customize action shots with filters to get the best glam shot of their favorite zombies. That's cute. I like that.
That's nice.
All NPC and survivor interactions are now fully voiced, which is really cool.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yes. I mean, as long as the voice acting isn't completely like right, that detracts from the experience.
Yeah.
I feel like it's always better to have VO, even if it's like average, just so much better for someone like me.
Although in this game, like would kind of janky VO kind of add to the charm, like maintain
probably.
Some of the charm?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, so bad it's good. That's I just don't want it so bad it's just bad.
So bad it's bad.
Like, yeah. We can't. Don't want to hit that for sure. The moving while aiming while moving thing. That's something I could see maybe some purist being upset about. But like, this is like, I remember like this game to an extent. Like, it's not like moving and shooting like an OG Resident Evil or something like that drastic of a change. I think this one's going to be probably well received, honestly. I know that might give some people pause, but the nature of this game, I feel like it's not going to completely break the original's like experience.
Well,
honestly.
And Swordfish just said in chat what I was thinking too. They said guns felt like the least powerful thing in the game, and it's like, that was always my experience too. It's like you find a big cactus or a weed whacker or whatever, and you're like a god.
Exactly. You make the craziest shit that you craft, and then you just go to town with that. Like, guns were like, they didn't feel like, you're just gonna get by having a bunch of guns, honestly.
Right. Which to me felt kind of like the intent.
Yeah, I think they want you to get wild and crazy with those creations, and honestly, the game's like more fun like that. The spectacle, like anything with a chainsaw, just going through like hordes of zombies, cutting through them, and then like the durability when it finally like breaks, like they will eventually break. You will have like that moment of panic where it's like you got to keep, you got to run. So it's not like you just need like enough ammo and you just like mow down everybody. Even if you like had a gun, like you're going to have to, run to survive at some point, and you're still going to have that, intense, tension where, you're the survival game. It's a survival game.
Man, this game is fun. I like this game. A few more quality of life things they say. New and improved NPC behaviors. They don't really go into that, but I mean, if that includes
probably
enemies,
when they're following you, because that was a pain in the ass. They probably are tweaking the pathing for NPCs. that they will be smarter than that, because there was some frustrating stuff with that in the original. And honestly, it's you could go play the original if you want to experience that. Like, I like that. It's like, no, most people are like, no, please just make them move a little bit smarter. Yeah.
Real-time lighting and shadow effects. Blood is pleased.
As when we get to a topic soon, lighting and shadow effects. Oh man, they like the number one thing. No, good. One of the things you should start with when you're improving your graphics, baby.
Lighting
makes so much.
Is so important. Last ones are more intuitive and user-friendly controls and fine-tuned user interface. So.
Yeah, I imagine that's what they meant when they said like when I read the UI thing. They probably looked at like reviews and feedback, and honestly, being able to tweak the UI like this, I'm sure it's going to be great to have it, and hopefully they have some good customization options for further tweaking it, but we'll have to see. Like I'm a big fan of having good UI, and giving customization, having the player being able to customize like HUD elements and placement of them and sizing of them where it makes sense and doesn't go too overboard for like the developers to be spending too much time on that and not enough time on other things that need their attention.
Yeah, to me it's like allowing the player to be able to change basically anything they want is like really important to me. And like I really appreciate games like Warframe has this, where it's like you can decrease the intensity of like particle effects and like animations and stuff like that if they're like too bright or flashy, which I kind of like, because I have, as my sister and I like to say, light blindness, where I get like stained retinas all the time.
I am curious if this is just going to be the first of these efforts, if they're going to do beyond one, or if they're just going to stick with just one. Because I see oh, never mind. That's a costume pack. Never mind. Yeah, they they do have some costumes from Dead Rising 2. They have Chuck Green. That's the one I played for Dead Rising 2, was the alternative one where Chuck was the hero. So yeah, I wonder if they are going to do Dead Rising 2 at some point. And honestly, given Capcom's track record, if this even sells remotely well, they're probably going to greenlight that immediately.
Oh,
yeah, for sure.
They're probably already like thinking on it, and then
I guess the last thing I am hopeful for is that if this does well and it revitalizes, does this lead to a true revitalization of the Dead Rising series, that we get a brand new one, and one that people were probably hoping for, that will, the Resident Evil style. Well, I guess Resident Evil started with a brand new entry before doing the remakes. It did 7, then it did 2, then it did, it kept going back and forth. But I think with this series, they definitely needed, I think this is the safer play, because it's like not as a sure thing as Resident Evil, because Resident Evil is a massive, huge selling series. Dead Rising, I think, could, be another staple for them. And I hope this works out for sure. Also for Huber, because he loves this, he loves Dead Rising.
Speaking of Resident Evil, they also dropped a little tidbit about Resident Evil 7 hitting iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max, and iPads and Macs with M1 chips or later.
So a thing came out about the sales for the traditional games like Resident Evil, some like Assassin's Creed. These games do not sell on mobile. No one wants to play it on their phone. Even though I tried out, like, was it RE4? Or Village. I tried Village, and it did look good.
It ran great, yeah.
And you can put a controller, but no one wants to take a controller with them with their phone. Like, when you're at home, you're just going to play it on something else. You're not going to play it on your phone. And 2, when you're on the go, you're not bringing a controller with you. So it just did not fit the mobile experience. And like, the mobile market is pretty well established now with what types of game experiences people are willing to play and pay for. And the payment structure for that is, mostly free to play with in-game transactions, not a big $30-$40 expense up front. Those things just do not do well on mobile.
Yeah, and apparently they're selling them for like console prices, says Blood in chat. So like,
Yeah,
woof.
yeah. No one's buying that. No, it's not.
Nobody
It,
wants that.
it's cool. It's possible. I think what it would, if Apple were making a dedicated handheld game device, this would be a different story, maybe. But this just goes to show that mobile phone does not, mobile phone gaming is still, while it's still huge, it's a different type of experience than what you're going to get on even dedicated gaming handheld devices.
Yeah.
So you gotta know. I think hopefully they've learned their lesson, and I mean, I guess not, because they're still bringing them onto it. So I don't know. Maybe Apple is paying for these. I don't know.
People were theorizing that like they have a deal with Apple of some kind. I mean, my hope is like, yeah, or if you have a backbone or whatever, like controller for your phone that hooks on. But like, my hope is that with RE Engine, like porting it is just easy enough that it doesn't take all that much sweat. Like, and so like even if they get a couple hundred sales or a few thousand sales, it's like a wash. I don't know.
I would
Probably
hope,
not, but I don't know.
But increasingly, we're seeing from developers who give insight into any kind of port job that even the seemingly easiest of ports, like the baseline number of copies that need to sell, like it's actually not as cheap as anyone ever thinks it is. Apparently, it's like you got to sell quite a few copies. It's like, like we're talking like you need to like probably approach like 50 to 100,000 copies on some of these, at least. Like just like selling a few thousand is not is like bad, not even enough for like these easy ports. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
Well, for me, the coolest news that came out of this, besides the Dead Rising stuff, and like obviously we know there's a Resident Evil 9 coming, but the director of 7 said it was really difficult to figure out what to do after 7, but I found it, and to be honest, it feels substantial. I can't share any details just yet, but I hope you're excited for the day I can. Which, everyone is taking as kind of a soft confirmation of 9 and that the director of 7 is directing it.
And this is all in that latest Capcom presents. Yeah, okay.
Capcom Next.
Or Next, that's what they call it. They all have different names.
They all have different names. The Capcom Showcase,
Maybe we'll get Outbreak. Maybe Resident Evil 9 will actually be an Outbreak-style game.
Dude. Or I mean, like, Pie in the Sky for me, dude, is like, I mean, obviously I want an Outbreak just on its own, but like if they're gonna, because like they've always done like the half-baked, sometimes good like Mercenaries and often bad like RE-verse multiplayer like side experiences that either come packaged with or kind of adjacent to the games. Like if there's an Outbreak style thing that was like the multiplayer like add-on to 9, like I would even take that, like
yeah, absolutely. I think it would just be very ambitious if they just made a whole game that was Outbreak style where
I was talking like a smaller thing, but even if it was just
I'll take a smaller thing too. But while you were saying your thing, it got me thinking like how big of a misfire, in my opinion, Resident Evil 6 was, but it had like the multiple campaigns with the 3 different campaigns, I believe, right? I forget so much about that game at this point. What if they did have multiple campaigns again, but each campaign was a drastically different style of game? Like campaign 1 is like mansion style, slow pace, like real like horror, like very methodical, like ammo's limited. Then like another one is a little bit more like action heavy. And then one is, like kind of like the in between. One's like more like 4 or something. So you got older style Resident Evil, one that's more like 4, and then another one's maybe like the Revelations style. Like maybe it is like could be co-op or something where you're like with a partner and the other two are like solo. I don't know. I think that could be kind of cool to have, offering like the best of the like. Look at like the Resident Evils have done the the best. So like 1, 2, 7, 8, and obviously 4, in my opinion, and maybe find a way to like make campaigns that kind of evoke the different styles of those games. And it's like, oh man, that would be such a feat to pull that off and have like 3 campaigns that delivered that. I mean, if you're talking about like ambition, but I do think Outbreak would be the most ambitious thing and riskiest thing, but also Capcom seems to still be pretty dead set on trying to have some kind of like multiplayer experience in their games, especially Resident Evil. That could be, the sweet spot. We'll see.
Outbreak as a service. Hell yeah.
Oh,
The for me, like the sweet spot with Resident Evil is when the main game is, you know, the standard Resident Evil amount of camp and goofy fun, but like mostly plays it straight. And you know, like 4 and 8, 7 played it even darker, but like, and then they supplement that with like a goofier mode, like tofu, or you know, like that's
you're
the
right.
perfect mix for me is like normal Resident Evil game, which has like the campy horror but mostly scary tone, and then just go full goofy with it on the like side stuff.
What if they just like are inspired by Rebirth recently? They did so many mini games, and Capcom's like, we need a Resident Evil, a bunch of goofy side modes.
God.
And so they just go like extra mode crazy.
Yeah.
So a stellar campaign. This is single player adventure, but then it's like, here's like 5 or 6 extra mode, like tofu, like mercenary. They just give you the bad Outbreak. It's just like those are all there. It's like, wait, what?
Little chibi Leon and Claire like tactics mode, like fuck it.
Yeah, tower defense mode, like oh man,
a card game, like please. I would lose my marbles.
That'd be pretty good.
Oh man. Speaking about mini games and like lots of content and Final Fantasy, Damiani, you're gonna talk about Dawntrail, y'all.
Oh yeah, so Dawntrail officially launched this past week. Had its early access weekend. First thing I want to say is incredibly smooth early access and launch.
Nice.
And you might be like, well, of course, like, you know, maybe they're in like, you know, they're like going downward or something, like, you know, less players. They put out an announcement saying it was the highest amount of concurrent players since A Realm Reborn launch. And Realm Reborn was a disastrous launch because like all the servers kept crashing due to how many people were trying to play. So Endwalker was regarded as like, oh my God, there's so many people playing this game. But apparently active people actually playing the game at the same time, the highest amount was during Realm Reborn. So the Dawntrail had a shit ton of people trying to play it, and yes, it still had like a very smooth experience. Nice. And they added a lot more servers. They did a lot. They did a bunch of tests over the course of like Endwalker to see how they could best address this. And honestly, I think all that time and money invested into that finally paid off. And I think I had like one server, like the server crash, or I had one disconnect. And aside from the very first morning of early access, where the queue was like a few, like it was like 1,200 people. After that day, the queue was like maybe 50, 60 people most. And right now you can get in with like, it's almost an insta queue. Oh, wow. And but like it's still crowded in game. Like each zone has like multiple instances of that zone to accommodate the large. They have like that's one of the things they did before. They only had like 3 instances of like a new zone. So when you get there, it would randomly put you into like one of them based on like how populated each one was to kind of like even it out. Now they have like up to 6. So all these like small changes they did, I think, made for a much smoother experience where it doesn't feel overloaded. Now, one data center, the most popular NA data center, was getting a bit crowded in the open early access weekend and did have longer queue times. But I was on Primal and I knew people on Crystal. And then there was also a 4th NA data center now that was pretty much like smooth going and is the least populated. This seemed to be very easy to get on them. And anyone had the option to go to the least populated data center just to play if they wanted to. Now you're locked out of a few things when you're there. Like if you have like a guild, you can't do any guild actions on there because they're on a different data center. So, but like if you just wanted to play the story
at will now.
Yes, you can. Each data center has 8 worlds, and you can world visit any of them, and then you can actually send your character to another data center in your region. So NA has 4 data centers, and now with like 8 each, so 32 servers. You can visit any of them now. Now you can't right now. They locked data center visit out right now to help with crowd control, except on NA, the newest one called Dynamis. You can visit that one no matter where you are on NA. You can go to any one of those 8, or you can visit any of the 8 worlds on your own data center as well.
That's
So
crazy because that used to be
yeah.
like you were locked in, right?
Yep, it
Is
used to
that
be you couldn't
new
even
for
world
this?
visit. The data center visit's been around for a while.
Oh, okay.
The one thing they kept from a test from the end of Endwalker is you could visit a different region. They let everyone in the world visit the Oceania data center, and they kept that for now. So if you're in Europe, you're in North America, or you're in Japan, you could still visit the Oceania data center right now if you wanted to. You
New
just
York is
got to deal with
pleased.
that ping, yeah, if you really want to play over there. So yeah, if you're like Australia, basically New Zealand or any area around there, that's like kind of like your data center. You can go play with them if you want to. So shout out to like such a smooth experience, and deceptive that it made it feel like maybe like, oh, is the game on a decline? It's like, no, they just did their job. Now
It's just
we'll
working.
see. Yeah, so it's working, and like honestly, can't remember the last time an online game had such a smooth launch
Yeah,
like that.
like
So that's the
never.
first thing I want to like shout out, that was like a very important and very amazing. Um, the rest of the game, this is a big
Yeah, but how's the
expansion.
game?
Yeah, so there's a big expansion in the fact that it's following up. It's the to put it into layman's terms for media aficionados out there. This is basically the phase that's coming after the end game in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We just
So
had
total
our
garbage.
end game. But like, well, that's what Marvel did. Marvel didn't have a good plan. We're now seeing what Square Enix has their plan for Final Fantasy XIV. So this is kind of like a soft narrative reset. Like we
Right.
are starting something new.
Jump in
There are
now.
there's like almost no direct references to the what you just did. This like huge multi-universe saving events or whatever, blah blah blah. I mean, not multi, but universe saving events. And now like you're going on equivalent of like they kept calling it a summer vacation. It's a more cozy narrative, at least for the first half, where you are going to a new island, a new region of your world that's not that's been there forever, but a lot of people just haven't visited there from outside of that, like that haven't lived there. And there's a rite of succession going on, and you've been asked to help out with it. And some of your friends are also coming to help, but helping a different faction. There's like 4 factions who are vying to become the new ruler, and so there's a little bit of like that like competition dynamic they're trying to play off of, and a lot of new characters. And I don't want to get too deep into it, obviously, to avoid spoilers, but it definitely is probably the most polarizing aspect of the expansion, in my opinion. There are definitely, I'm hearing a lot of people who are just not happy with the narrative. And I'm seeing people who are thrilled with the narrative.
Okay.
I honestly knew what to expect going into it, and I enjoyed it for the most part. My gripes have nothing to do with like what I'm hearing a lot of people complain about. Mine have to do with stuff that involves spoilers that we're just not going to get into right now.
Okay.
Towards the end, there's some stuff in the end that I didn't even think needed to be there, but sure, I felt like they crammed in stakes at the end when it's like you didn't really need to do this. But I guess some people would have screamed if there weren't like some kind of stakes.
And I suppose they probably felt as though they needed to add some kind of narrative hook for like the rest of it going forward.
Yes, and I think it was probably necessary, but there's a certain element of it I didn't like how it was executed. But to the actual like stuff you're seeing in trailers, that's like not non-spoilery at this point.
Yeah.
There are people who just weren't happy that like it doesn't feel like you're the main character for that part of the story. This new character, Wook Lamont, she's a female Rothgar. So like lion woman, and you and her faction, and she's kind of like the main character. And honestly, I didn't have a problem with that. Like I felt like, this was enjoyable, but there's some people I think that it's their character. This is an MMO. Like they invested time. They had a difficult time accepting that. And honestly, like I get that. Like it just know what you're getting into. And then the other thing is it's a lot of world building again. It's very character focused. We're learning about new characters. We're learning about new regions. Yes, there are always new regions each game and we have stories, but this is much more slower paced. In fact, I would liken this, if you're like wondering what this is like and you've played the other installments of Final Fantasy XIV, it's like a hybrid of A Realm Reborn and Stormblood.
Okay.
A Realm Reborn with like the foundation building of these new regions and really going into like a deep dive, and even the structural pacing. It's like you have these like mini arcs that you're just bouncing between that kind of like keep pushing you forward in the main narrative, that can be almost be like kind of like self-contained and like, but you're just learning a little bit more about the region. And then Stormblood, because the story of it was, I see people calling it like Stormblood because Stormblood's sometimes regarded as like one of the weaker narratives because it was maybe a little bit more self-contained, and a little bit of it led into a bigger picture towards the end, but also like stylistically, like you can compare Lys and Wook Lamont very easily about their arcs. That like Stormblood was like Lys's story, that like she's and trying to ascend and like help reclaim her home country, and now you're not trying to reclaim your home country, you're just like trying to be continue ruling it in your father's stead. So
Right.
yeah, it's a different style, not as much stakes, it's slower pace, and there's a lot of world building, and it's very character driven. It's not like world ending or super villain or anything like that. At least, it's not really doing that. And so it's hard to come off something so huge that had so much stakes and follow it up. I think it just like with after with Marvel, we have like Marvel failed, I think, in my opinion, to like find like a thread that we could pull at to like, where are we leading with this? They've definitely served up some things by the end of this. Like, oh, there are some good possibilities here. It just remains to see if how we follow those on. But it does, I think, set up for some really good possibilities. And honestly, I felt like I got what I expected and felt satisfied. I will say some of the English VO, I don't. It's not like it's not like bad. I think it's like still pretty decent. But I definitely like listened to it in some like, I don't know. It sounded better in other languages, especially like in Japanese for some of the characters. It was kind of like, oh, it was like, obviously like, even if you don't know, understand like, this, like the tone and like, the tone, you can just hear like the tone difference. And yeah. And it felt like it matched up with some of the characters a little bit better. But otherwise, I thought it was pretty solid. Not like I would probably put it, I'd probably need to replay Stormblood, but right now I'd put it above Stormblood, and right next to like right above A Realm Reborn. So like it's Heaven's Ward, Shadowbringers, and Endwalker are like the three best narrative wise, and then A Realm Reborn and Stormblood. So like this is like in the middle, honestly.
Well, and I feel like with a narrative beginning, like, and you can tell me if you thought this was true, but like, especially with you not being the main character, right? It seems like one of those things that later on, when the story has shifted and maybe you look back on this, you can see some of the narrative hooks that like didn't have weight now because you didn't know that they were going to lead to something later, and like sometimes it's interesting to me, like, I mean, think like Alien or like several other things where it's like, you're not really sure who the main character is until everyone else is dead.
Exactly. And honestly, they're very good at doing setups. If you played A Realm Reborn through Endwalker, some things that don't seem too relevant early on, when you get like an expansion 2 later, it's like, oh God, like we're developing this point. This part was important. Like, let me go back and like, they do that. It's also why one of the requirements still is you need to play through all the story to catch up. You obviously can pay to skip, but there's no like natural insertion point where you're going to feel, caught up or you're not missing on anything. Now, they might be going forward looking to make the start of this expansion maybe that new insertion point for onboarding if you want to start later. But as of now, there's like, that's not the plan, and it doesn't really totally feel like that, but it could possibly be that. But again, I still feel like what you're playing now is going to have an impact on things to come. And unlike Endwalker, which was unique, every other expansion, the story, while you get a good ending, every loose end is not usually wrapped up until like a few patches into the expansion.
Right.
So the next patch or 2 or 3, we're going to get more developments from the story, and we'll eventually transition into leading to the next expansion's main narrative. And and I think that's where a lot of like the potential is. And honestly, again, the story is pretty good. I think people who are like story aficionados, that's where they might see the most negativity, is people who felt the story didn't live up to high expectations.
Yeah.
Which, that's a personal thing. The
Well,
other
and
element
it's
aspects.
falling
Oh, go
action
ahead.
right now, right? It's like
Yeah,
it's the calm after the storm.
I will say, I think in other regards, they're doing a pretty good job and addressing some of the concerns that maybe were a little bit more important to address for the longevity game. Now, there's a lot they have to juggle.
Yeah.
There's still, I'll get this out of the way, job balance and how jobs feel and all that. Like, it's still a work in progress. Like, they always take time to get jobs feeling right in each expansion, but even then, like, there's always a job or few jobs that feel like they're getting like screwed over in an expansion.
Sure.
Like and it's there's a little bit of that going on right now with certain jobs. In fact, they've already announced they're gonna like change. They're making adjustments to jobs in a few weeks, and the newest job, Viper, they're gonna overhaul its actions a bit because they got complaints from the Japanese official forums that it's too busy, that it's too complicated to play. So this is like the first time they're actually gonna like structurally adjust a job that soon. It's like, oh wow, that's kind of crazy.
Fast.
It's not like potency adjustments or anything. It's like they're gonna actually change its rotation. It's like, oh, that's kind of like this soon. So that's kind of like interesting. And there's a whole debate about like job identity and like other issues that they've kicked the can down the road to the next expansion or later this expansion. They said they're gonna probably start working on that issue. So just want to get that out of the way, that like job balance and stuff, like it's not completely addressed in this expansion just yet. So like some issues still persist. Everything I still think everything's still viable. And it's up, and it's on a personal level. It's how much satisfaction you get out of your job is what you're looking for. There are people who are just unhappy with certain jobs, or people who, like, they're fine with those same jobs. So it's difficult, to really grade and critique that. It's really about the context of where you're looking. Are you looking at it from like a high-end rating? Are you looking at it from a casual perspective where I'm just running low-level content, like story content? I don't care about anything else. Like, that's
right.
Why this juggling act is really difficult. So I just want to say about that. I have not put any time into Pictomancer or Viper, the new jobs, at this point. I played them at the media tour, but I haven't like I'm not really playing them just yet because I'm doing other stuff. Content wise, though, I got to say, really good environments. Oh man, especially the ones I don't want to talk about. I mean, they showed off a lot, already, but like if you've been ignoring it, like there's so many good zones in this game, and one of the ones that I think is not spoilery is the Wild West zone. It was like they made Red Dead. They made a Red Dead zone, and it's like it's got the saloon with the bar. You can walk in. It's like, oh, you go down the road. It's got all the old West buildings, and there's multiple of these too. And the first time I got there, you saw me on chat on streams. Can verify. I went and got like a cowboy outfit and immediately like started acting like, RPing in there. And other people do that too. And like I got angry at people who were riding like mounts that broke immersion. I was like, no, get out of here. Get out of here. This is the Old West zone. So like it was fun to see something like that. But like just the visuals of the zones, like very good zones, very good music, and the visual update.
I was going to ask about this because I've been hearing about the graphical update.
Mm-hmm. Some things they gotta some things to iron out, some bugs and some issues, but on the whole, very impressive. The lighting and shadows, oh my gosh! When I was streaming it, I played on max settings. It was like it looked very good. It was much more noticeable on my machine than it was at the media tour.
Okay,
I thought it looked really good. I thought, especially
that's always so funny to me, where it's like. That's always so funny to me on a media tour where it's like, why are you not showcasing this on a high-end machine? Like, why don't you want to show us the best version?
I think it was easier when I went back to old content because you can't go to old zones at the media tour. You're literally restricted to what they want you to see. So like going back to old stuff, I'm like, oh my God, like look how much better this looks. Look at it just looks so much improved. And like the lighting and the environments and textures. Now, not every texture has been updated yet, but the ones that have,
so much content. I can't even believe it.
Yeah, it is. I thought it was impressive. I was very happy. and they're going to keep tweaking it. And I think it's only going to get better. And this, to me, was a very worthwhile investment. It's definitely going to help retain players and bring in new players because it's not going to look so dated anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very good. Music, as expected, knocks it out of the park. Some really good stuff towards the end of the game, because there's like a kind of like a tonal shift. That's all I'll say. And then content wise, dungeons. So you have like the dungeons, and then you have the trials expansion. They pushed back a little bit on the notion that this game is getting easier and is a little too casual friendly. There was I think the mechanics of the bosses in the dungeon can get a bit hectic. And I think the trials are probably probably the two best trials we've had in a long time for an expansion. And the final trial was insane as well, like the final fight. I won't say anything else about that. And then they have expert dungeons after you finish the story. They're the level 100 dungeons. I died multiple times on them. The very first one, these aren't really spoilery, but one's like is one of an Old West themed one. The first boss does a mechanic. I dodge what into I think is the safe zone. Fake out. It wasn't the safe zone. It one shot me. I'm like, wait, what?
Whoa.
Usually when you fail a mechanic, it's like, oh, you get like a debuff stack, vulnerability stack or damage down stack. One shot, like you're just dead. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, a lot of mechanics there. Like they definitely push back. The trials definitely are tripping some people up, and then like the extreme versions of them people are just loving them right now. So I think where it mattered the most for a decent chunk of the player base, which was we would like more satisfying, rewarding content. So far, they've nailed it.
Yeah.
They just need to keep up this pace going forward. And I think this is why it's also being called Stormblood 2.0, because Stormblood, people were very torn on the narrative, but people will swear that it had the best content of the last like few expansions of Shadowbringers, Endwalker, and Stormblood. A lot of people will tell you Stormblood had the best content, like best dungeons, best trials, best savage tier, best rating tiers.
Yeah.
They like best ultimates. They will like tell you that was the highlight. So if we can get more of that again, I think in the long run, that will be very good they'll be very good for this for the health of this game. And the narrative, honestly, as you said, it's a new starting point.
Yeah, it's ramping up.
If they keep building upon it and keep ramping up, they've got a lot of good things in place. So yeah, it's not overall, I wouldn't say like it's the best. It's not. I think Endwalker and Shadowbringers, their base expansions were better than this, and probably Heaven's Ward.
Yeah.
I would say that it's like its potential trajectory might at the end. This has a potential to be right up there as like including all the patch content when all is said and done, possibly being one of the best. It's just if they can follow through on what they've set up, for sure.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, all in all, you're pleased though. You sound like you're happy.
Yeah, I had a really good time, and yeah, like my disappointment came from like a very specific thing in the end.
Sure.
And honestly, it's like I get why they did it. It's just like for reasons I don't want to say to even like remotely spoil it. I just didn't feel like it was done very well. And that's it. I'll just say that. Like we'll get into it. I'll get into it at another time and place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would still like I've still got to do like capture and all this stuff. Like I didn't capture anything while I was playing because you can rerun everything and like capture it like with nice settings and everything like that. So I'm gonna do that later. But like yeah, like I feel like it is par for the course in terms of like for a quick mini review. Like yeah, it's like in like I'd say it's like in the 8 range, honestly. Like I don't think it's as low. Some people are saying like it's a swimming in 7s. I'm like, no, I think it's like a solid 8 range expansion, which puts it right in the middle.
Yeah, especially it sounds like if you look at the whole package, like including the graphical revamps and that kind of like looking at the whole thing, it sounds like it's at least that.
Oh yeah, and all the quality of life updates are doing, and also more this time more so than ever. like I'm having the difficulty of like it's like a moral quandary of like, yeah, a review would be like to make it clear it's just the base expansion.
Right.
But like when a score is attached to the review, sorry, the expansion, it's like some people will just assume it includes all the patches eventually. It's like, no, that's not true. Like
yeah, it seems like you're re-reviewing the entirety of
like I forget what I gave Endwalker. It was either 9 or 9.5, but whatever it was, when all was said and done, I probably would have lowered it a little bit because of like everything that happened. Where Shadowbringers, I would have maintained it because they did a pretty good job. They were impacted by COVID, so that's like why some of the content like didn't make it out in time. But on the whole, the way Shadowbringers was going, it was like maintaining that level of quality. So that's like always the difficulty with this is like if this keeps ramping things up with like an escalating narrative in the patches and great content, I could see this easily going up, in score if we did things that way. But right now, I think, which is what we have to judge, it's probably would be a little bit lower. But I mean, honestly, things could get worse. It could be the other way around. But I don't really think that's probably going to happen. We'll have to see. I mean,
they know what they're doing. I think, like they're old hands at this, and they do it well. So I'm hopeful. I mean, like someone was asking in chat if I was going to jump back in because I got up to Heaven's Word, I think. I have way more time in 14 than I thought I did, like a couple, 200+ hours. I'm a Warframe girl now. It's
That's
too late
true.
for me. It's too late for me.
Yeah. I will definitely empathize with that, saying that when you want to be caught up and keep up to date on a certain like game, MMO, online game as service, live service game, you kind of really can only play that game. You can dabble into other things every now and then, but like you're not getting truly meaningful stuff out of it. Even like when Fortnite dropped the Avatar Last Airbender stuff, I did go into that and play that quite a bit, but like I'm out now. I haven't gone back in since that, and I probably won't till another crossover event happens that is remotely interesting to me that will draw me back in. But even then, it's like I'm just fun unlocking it, seeing it for a little while, and then bailing out. I'm not like, oh, I know all the map changes and I'm up to date on like I know what's even coming up. I'm like, nah. And like that's just Fortnite. I know that's like updated pretty frequently, but I feel like other games like Warframe or another MMO or even another like live service game, this requires such a time commitment that you really should just pick one and kind of like stick to it, honestly.
Yeah. And I mean, like, we'll see if I start juggling Soulframe and Warframe or whatever, but like, who knows? Who knows what the hell what's that is? To answer someone's question in chat, yes, Warframe does have gun blades. Nice. But I haven't really used them because my gun was my melee and gun were already better than them when I found one. Anyway,
last thing I'll say real quick because I don't want to pull a Huber, but when we move on and interject after, if you're a big fan of Final Fantasy IX, this probably is an expansion for you as well.
Oh, I should tell Jason that because he was like kind of iffy on going back in, and I was like, oh, well, he loves.
Might have to wait for it for a little bit, but yeah, significant. I would say if there's one game that like the biggest theme is drawn from which game, it's probably Final Fantasy IX.
Ooh, that's interesting. All right. Any other thoughts on 14? Okay, cool.
We're good.
When Hubie is better, we're gonna hear his thoughts on Destiny 2: The Final Shape because he's been playing that, loving that. I've actually heard it's very good. So yeah, I'm excited to hear what he thinks of that. But that'll have to wait until he's feeling better because alas, he is under the weather right now. If we've got more to come, but if you've been enjoying the show so far, please take a second to like, subscribe, and ring the bell on YouTube and leave a review if you're on a podcast app. It really helps us and it really helps you stay connected. It really grows the brand, which is something we would love to have happen. All right. We are already into our patrons' top 10 trains, Damiani.
Ooh, yeah. All right.
And apparently, there's always a caveat, which I love. I love a good caveat. But
okay. This was alluding to. I wanted to hear there's going to be some crazy definitions of trains here or something. Let's hear it.
Okay, Blood's doing the time codes. Okay, good. Thanks, Blood. Yeah, so trains are loosely defined as any vehicle that moved along a track.
Oh no.
So I
Okay.
guess monorails are probably in here.
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess I
Looking
would
through this, most
count
of
a
these are
monorail.
trains. Most of these are
Okay,
trains,
good.
as I would consider them.
I'm very curious if the GTA 5 train is on there because of all the memes and stuff
Let
from,
me see.
because I just remember seeing countless videos back in the day of what can beat the GTA 5 train. Like, will plane beat it? Will tank beat it? But
I'm not
I,
seeing it.
okay, that's fine. It was just like indestructible, so it was like kind of funny to have it on there.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, obviously, I mean, I don't know if people liked it. Is the train from Spirit Tracks in there or no?
that is number tied for number 10.
Nice. All right.
And
It's
we
fun because you
got,
can customize parts on your trains. That's pretty cool.
yeah, I got,
GoldenEye frigate, the train level.
um,
It's not frigate. It's what's it called?
it's just called The Train.
Yes.
GoldenEye, yeah, that's number
Yeah.
4. Tied for number 4, actually, with
Nice. Okay. One of my
two
favorite
others,
levels because
3
this feels
others.
like a nice shooting gallery style level because it's literally just a like constant corridors. I'm like, this is good.
Yeah.
Fun bottlenecks. Do you have any ideas? Oh, you've seen them
I
all,
can
haven't
see the
you?
list, so I don't
Uh,
get to guess, alas.
Crud. Other good trains. Hmm.
I think there's a few
Crud.
Final Fantasies on here.
So, okay, I was
There are
trying to think of
4
anything but
actually in
Final
the top
Fantasy
10.
first. So, the Phantom Train.
Yep, that's number uh 2. Final Phantom Train
Oh,
from Final Fantasy VI, with
oh,
19 votes, is number 2.
wow!
Yeah.
Made it to there. Okay.
Ooh, I would agree
Uh,
with the number 1, actually. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Um,
um,
there are
hmm.
3 other Final Fantasies on this list.
Three other.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, and it moves on rails. I don't remember a train in Final Fantasy 4, unless it's one of their weird definitions.
One of them
Um,
is referred to as a tram, but it's not from Final Fantasy IV.
okay. Uh, okay. 7. The
Yes.
train in 7 that goes around Midgar, or is it
So
different?
that the Midgar Central train is number 3 with
Okay.
15 votes from Final
Voids.
Fantasy VII. There
All
is a
right.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth one, but it is a tram.
Oh, the ride with the shooting ride with Yuffie and Barrett, and where you get to pick the course.
I
Even though it's like
don't
it's
I don't
isn't
know.
it, that's
This
a,
is the Gold
it's like a,
Saucer tram.
oh, they like that one. Okay, so like the
The
gold
like
saucer
going in, yeah.
going in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
Because
I
the other
think
thing
that's what we're
was
talking
on
about.
rails moving and is like it's more of a mine cart, but their definition, I'm like, it's on a track, it is moving under its own power. So it's
Yeah.
like
I don't see that one
uh
on here.
that's
That's a
fine.
good one
No,
though.
that's that's interesting they picked that one because yeah. I mean it's like the scene's cool, but it's like I don't think the actual thing is it's interesting they picked that.
That's kind of the question, is like, yeah, the view is spectacular and interesting, but
Is
yeah. There's
is there one
one more
from
Final
8 or
Fantasy
9?
on
Because
here.
I haven't played enough of
8,
those.
yeah.
So I want to know 8.
Doom Train from 8 is on here,
Oh, I don't know
which is
that.
pretty sick, yeah. All right, you want to hear the top 10?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
All right, so tied for 10th. We have a lot of ties. Tied for 10th
Okay.
with 10 votes apiece. Big Magic Mountain from Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one. I like that.
And then Spirit Train, as we said, from Spirit
Yep.
Tracks. And then 2 tied for 8. Doom Train from Final Fantasy VIII, and Aurora from Metro Exodus, which is, I think, you're
Okay.
like, that's like your moving home base, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
pretty
believe
sick.
so.
I think so. I haven't played that, but then we have 4 tied for 4th with 11 with 12 votes each. That makes sense. They would all have to have the same number. The Gold Saucer Tram from Rebirth, the Train from GoldenEye 7, Excess Express from Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door.
Oh, okay. That's there's like you have a whole like segment on there where you're trying to figure out you're solving some stuff on there. It's en route to when you're going to like the rich area. You get on like the train. You need like a ticket to get on it, and then what happens? There's like you have to solve like individual like issues with people, and then like it's little oh gosh, now I'm forgetting everything about it, even though I just played it like a month or so ago. Sorry, I played a lot, but yeah, it was fun. You're on it, like you're thinking like, oh, I'm just gonna instantly warp to this other area in a cutscene, and all of a sudden it's like, no, this is a whole sequence. It's a 3-day trip, and then there's a stop. You have like a pit stop somewhere, and then there's more to do there. So it's pretty involved, and it's pretty, it's fun.
Nice. The final tie for fourth is the Forever Train from Star Fox 64.
Oh, yeah. That's a whole level. So if you don't do something, the train just keeps going forever. But when you beat the boss, it finally triggers the cutscene where it crashes into a base. But it's
funny.
if you just if you just keep dodging and staying alive, it's like we're just keep going, aren't we? It just never ends, does it?
The troll part.
Yeah.
Then third is the Midgar Central Train from 7. Number 2 is Phantom Train from Final Fantasy VI. And number 1, do you have a guess for number 1, Damiani? This one, how can I give a hint? This is a very famous train. The part you remember, it's not moving in a traditional sense.
Damn.
I'll just tell you. It's Uncharted 2, the train sequence.
Oh, yeah.
When
you're doing all the traversal during it. Yep.
It's
That's
technically
very true.
moving, but it's falling.
Yeah, it's falling.
It's falling.
That was a good sequence. Everyone cites that because like the graphical leap from 1 to 2, like that everyone was like that train sequence. Dude, like, ooh, look how good it looks.
I remember like that was a moment in gaming where I was like thoroughly impressed with a video game. I was like, oh my God, okay, we can do this. Like,
oh yeah,
like the whole world, the level is falling down around me. Like it was incredible.
Very good stuff.
So we got 34 total. I'll just ramble through them all real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
12th is Train from Red Dead Redemption 2, which is pretty sick. You can ride around on it, do stuff.
Okay.
3 tied for 13. Dead End Express from Bayonetta 2, which is pretty sick.
Oh, 2.
Because that's the one that you like use as a weapon, right?
No, that's 2, right?
2.
3 is the one where you use it as a weapon. Okay, yeah.
Train from Timber from Final Fantasy VIII. Miniature Railroad and Roller Coaster Tycoon. D_train from Counter-Strike. All lowercase. USG Ishimura tram system from Dead Space. Yeah, that's pretty sick. Except, no, I hate that one because you're constantly going back and forth like, oh, this shit is broken. Oh, this shit is broken. Like, go fix this. Screw that tram, dude. Astral Express from Honkai Star Rail. Ecliptic Express from Resident Evil 0. Mr. Bones Wild Ride from Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. Sick. Chuffy from Banjo-Tooie. Just Choo Choo Charles, full stop.
Yeah, Choo Choo Charles, of course.
Mirage Express from Murder of Sonic Hedgehog. Very good. Very good. The Train Hideout from Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Thomas the Tank Engine from Hero of the Rails. Trainwreck / Pale Horse from Gears of War. Train from Mirror's Edge. Armored Train Equus from Valkyria Chronicles.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, you played that one.
That's the big moving boss, like not boss, but like object, like thing on the one stage or whatever. Like you have to like keep avoiding its fire, and you have to destroy. Anyway, yeah.
Then Spatchcock from Sunless Skies, which I played Sunless Seas. I think I didn't play Sunless Skies. Grav Train, Ratchet and Clank. Kalos Express from Time Splitters. Battle Subway from Pokemon Black and White. Train Shootout Wild Arms 3. Train from Cities Skylines. Trans-Siberian Express from Shadow Hearts. And the train from Uncharted Lost Legacy. What game? Oh, it was Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle 2, maybe? Where you were on that, like, track and that big caterpillar was going next to you.
Oh yeah, that was the second one.
That was a pretty cool sequence.
what was it called?
I mean, I
Not
don't
Rabbit. Yeah,
remember.
Star. Oh gosh, now I can't remember.
Yeah, who knows?
Chat. What was it called?
I guess the minecarts don't count on this because there was no
Yeah.
you know
No Donkey
Donkey
Kong.
Kong.
No.
Next month's, oh my god.
Oh,
Oh,
what is it?
this is gonna be amazing. Next month's theme is dogs/wolves.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's gonna be a heated list.
Yes.
If you want to get in on those impressions, or not impressions, those that voting, just be a patron at $5. Join the Discord. We would love to have you on there. It's a really wonderful little group. Community is very welcoming and friendly, and everything is really fun. And I love these top tens. So yeah, the nominations are opening on July 10th, so in a few days. So yeah, get in there and join in on that. Thank you, patrons, for doing that. It's so fun. Yeah, Okami is gonna be in there.
Oh, of
Dog
course.
meat, dude. Like,
There's
there's
gonna be
so
too
many
many.
good dogs. There's so many. There's gonna be 300 items.
It's more going to be like, which ones did you forget? And then you're going to feel awful afterwards. And we're going to keep reminding you of the ones you forgot. So you keep feeling awful from it. Yep.
Right. So, Damiani, tell me about Luigi's Mansion 2 HD.
Yeah, HD. Yeah. It feels very natural calling it that because originally in US only it was called Dark Moon, and now it's like, yeah, it's like it should have always been called Luigi's Mansion 2. Like you're collecting the fragments of the Dark Moon because the Dark Moon was keeping everything in its place in this spooky haunted mansion.
Luigi seek pale
part
blood
of the world, yeah, and then it shatters for some reason, and then like the ghosts are back to being misbehaved, and so you're back once again to help Professor Gad out with your little Gust, sorry.
Poltergeist, I think, yeah.
Yeah, Gust, sorry. Sucking up ghosts, using a little like light, to flash everything, and also to use some other light powers. The kind of like the black light thing that like reveals hidden things as well. I just am shocked at how good it looks. Like the animation, like Luigi's animations for every little interaction it's just so damn good. Like very early on, there's a part where you have to like investigate a toilet seat, and like he lifts up the seat, it like looks in, it hits him on the head, he does this like a little somersault thing, then like sits on it, and then like it spins him around and it flings him into like a faucet, a sink faucet, and he like a towel falls on it, like in all this it's like slapstick like, but like it looks so fluid, and like it's like this is like Mario movie, like it doesn't fit in like the Mario movie. I mean, everything else around maybe isn't quite like the environments look nicer, but like specifically Luigi's animation and his model, like it looks like absolutely fantastic. So it really captures that like Luigi's kind of like quirky, goofy demeanor. It's like this perfect seeing it on like bigger screen, and how great it looks, and especially in handheld mode, everything like looks so good as well, because it's also kind of replicating that like handheld experience. And that's one thing you should know about this game, is that you're not like seamlessly exploring a big mansion or a big environment. It's mission based. So you go out and you're only exploring there's multiple mansions, haunted mansions, and each mission kind of like relegates you to a specific part, because kind of like Mario 64, if you remember, or like most of the old 3D Mario games, when you pick a mission, the environment is kind of like uniquely set to a certain status. Now, you can, on later missions, you do have access usually to the rest of the mansion you've already explored. There's not really much to do in there. You kind of need to like complete the objectives given to you. But sometimes like in the easiest ones in the first one, the first haunted mansion, one of the later missions, spiders have gotten out of hand. So there's like more webs and cobwebs all over the mansion, and you gotta like suck them up and clean them up so that you could like clear a path forward, whereas not as many of them were there in the first place. So it doesn't quite have like that nature of one, or even like 3 with like the hotel, although they are both segmented off. You can't just go anywhere at any time. Even in like 3, you're kind of locked to a floor. Eventually you have to start going back and forth a bit. So it's not it definitely is like a little bit more compartmentalized, but at the same time, it's great because like you'll spend like 10, 15, 20 minutes in a single mission, and if you really just want to play that and get out, it gives you these good out points to like really make it something you can play in small bites if you really want. Like it's actually help facilitating that, and I really like that because that's how I was playing it. I do a mission, all right, I'm gonna move on, go do something else now. So it really is conducive to that. So I do enjoy that a lot. But like the missions themselves also feel very satisfying to do, and they also have a lot of like hidden stuff. So like it's a lot of collectibles, like rare, like and it's like a high score system as well on each mission. You get a ranking, like a little like medal at the end, and there's also like a hidden objective that you will unlock later that you can also complete in each mission as well. You can't do it right away, but eventually you'll have the ability to do that. And it's very puzzle based too.
Yeah.
And I think, it seems rather straightforward, but at times, it really does make you have to like wander around and explore. It's like, did I try everything? Did I use, especially like one of the first upgrades you get is like kind of like the black light, which reveals invisible objects because there might be there's like a wall in front of you. Like, wait, where do I go? There's a wall. I can't hold up the black light thing, and it like reveals, oh, there was a hidden door there, and what other hidden things are in there. Like that's like kind of like the first like gameplay hook twist. It's like, oh, there's that, and then like the ghosts, finding like the ghosts. They're very they're varied. Like the simple ones, you just flash a light, stun them, suck them up. Then there are like ones that have like shades, early on, so like you have to like suck off their shades, then flash them. There are ones that have like a dough roller and a pot lid. It's like a sword and shield type thing. And like they'll use the shield to like charge at you. So they're like, their eyes are protected and they'll swing, blindly, but then they like, get dizzy and then they're exposed. So like there's a variety and like the boss fights too, they're pretty good as well. So there's a bit of like, a little bit of challenge there. And there's also like environmental hazards. Like very first thing, you're gonna walk into a hallway very early on where these knights in suit of armor are gonna like do the whole sword comes down at you like thing. It's like, oh crap, you weren't expecting that. You take damage, it hurts. So yeah, it's very satisfying. Like good, very good, like spooky vibes. No real like jump scares. It's very like humorous. Especially like seeing Professor Gad put like Luigi in these ever increasingly horrible situations, and he's like his guinea pig, and you're just kind of like, oh, freaking out, and he's like, ha, 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 ha. So I mean, it's kind of like a little like evil like that. It has like that dark humor definitely going for it. And yeah, it's like fun replaying it, and I'm glad they brought it forward to the Switch since it was like previously locked to 3DS. I know we only got it a few years ago. We got Luigi's Mansion 1 ported and updated for 3DS. So I don't know if Nintendo's ever going to bring that forward, but it'd be awesome to have all three of them available, easy to play again. But this one, yeah, if you maybe missed out on it because you didn't want a 3DS or didn't want just a truly handheld experience, the visual update, it's on par, I feel like, with Luigi's Mansion 3. But just structurally, no, it's a little bit more like bite size and like mission based, so it's not seamless, continuous like exploration of a large haunted environment like a building. But the cool thing is you do have different mansions and they have different themes. So the first one's very traditional and very similar to Luigi's Mansion 1, but you're going to get some wildly different ones. And yeah, I'm very pleased with what they did with it. And I forget if I didn't really mess with anything else, so I don't know if they like the extra like the multiplayer or anything like that. But I don't know if they made any other like changes and stuff that I could speak to for that. But just the single player experience in the main story, and it feels it feels good. I'm enjoying it. Yeah,
sounds like a good update.
Yeah, it is for sure.
Nice. Anything else before we move on to also this week?
No. I'm just trying to think about like music, and it's like kind of like creepy like ambience a lot of the time. Like there are ghosts who play musical things every now and then. Like there's one that plays like a piano. There's one where you have to like, just the interaction between the physics real quick. The poltergust and like objects, how it interacts.
Yeah.
I think 3 is a little bit more impressive with some of the things, but still seeing how it like can suck up like, roll and unroll the rug or window curtain, suck those up, or even like cloth or clothes hanging from a rack. It's like different things you can interact, and then spinning a fan. It's like, oh wow, like one of them is you can spin the thing on a musical instrument and it'll start playing. It's like, oh, like it's just cool to constantly see what you can interact with and how they're like constantly keeping you on your toes by introducing new things, new ways to interact with the environment as well.
Sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Also, this week, Surgeon Studios, makers of Tales of Kanzera, had to lay off about a dozen staff, which is a bummer. The main guy was like, sharing information and trying to like, rep the crew and be like, hey, like these are great people, please hire them, Meanwhile, Ubisoft Toronto, the studio working on remakes of Splinter Cell and Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, is reorganizing and laying off 33 people. So the hits keep coming, like it just keeps going.
Yeah, sucks.
Xbox Cloud Gaming is coming to Amazon Fire TV sticks via a new Xbox app, allowing players to access Xbox titles as long as they have a Bluetooth controller and Game Plus Ultimate. So
isn't technology awesome?
we're there. It is. A remake of Star Wars Bounty Hunter is on the way, coming from Asper, out on August 1st for PS5, PS4, Xbox, Switch, Steam for $19.99.
I forget Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, it says, for the first time ever, if the campaign is completed, players can unlock a new Boba Fett skin for their next playthrough, paying off a notorious Easter egg from the original game.
So wow, yeah, this is a PlayStation 2 game. Yeah, that was a while ago. Yeah.
And then let's see. Steam is introducing their own game recording functionality, which is now in beta. It will be somewhat similar to how game capture on consoles works, with options to record manually or have it constantly record, so you can go back and grab clips. However, it also developers. It also, I guess, allows developers to add tags into games to mark highlights, deaths, and other events in your timeline, which is cool.
Yeah.
So they can like program things in. That's nice functionality. I was playing something on PC recently and I wanted to do that, and then I was like, oh yeah, I can't. That's PlayStation. A Sega recruitment video gives a few details about the new Crazy Taxi game.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
It's being headed up by Kenji Kano, director of the original game. They are testing the idea of adapting the classic gameplay into a world with multiple players, and it will, quote, take place in a large realistic city based on the U.S. West Coast with a theme park-like map.
Okay.
And there's a video in Japanese if anyone out there wants to watch it. Nintendo aims to avoid scalping issues on their next console by simply making enough to meet demand.
Sure, yeah, simply making enough.
Yeah, what if we just had enough? They say that semiconductor shortages from a few years ago are no longer an issue. That's what they say.
I just wish they had the logistical ability to do what Apple does, that you can just lock in your pre-order right away. It's just staggered.
Yeah.
Other companies do this too, but I feel like Nintendo has the financial means and resources to also implement something like that. I imagine like the accurate estimating of your future release, if you don't get in the initial window, probably could cause a lot of headaches with customer complaints if you like drastically miss that. So if they could solve that, I would love to see that, happen, so that you just be done and be like, all right, I'm not going to get it for like 6 months, but at least I don't have to for 6 months. I'm not constantly searching for one. It's like,
yeah. And when your window is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Playday did it. Steam Deck did it. Lots of people did it.
Yeah, exactly.
Synth in the Eurorack synth world and other synth stuff, like oftentimes you'll be like, okay, you're in the Q3 2025 window, And then you just buy one from like Spanish Amazon anyway. But that's that. My Switch is from Spain. My friend bought it from the Spain Amazon website and had two, and I just bought one of them. Ubisoft Steve's Gimmo says he's confirmed that multiple Assassin's Creed remakes are on the way. There are worlds in some of our older Assassin's Creed games that are still extremely rich. Another quote: the goal is to have Assassin's Creed games come out more regularly. What? But not for it to be the same experience every year. They're coming out pretty dang regularly, haven't they been?
Yeah, it does feel like that. I mean, but they were inserting like Mirage, like a smaller, more traditional
I'm including
one
those,
in between.
In my
but
mind.
this could be a good way if they don't want to keep developing a Mirage type entry and just they have X amount of entries to remaster, remake. It's like, here you go. These come in between like the big new ones that are gonna take maybe 3-4 years. So now it feels like one's coming out every 2 years minimum. I honestly I feel like that's a good thing to do rather than like having multiple studios like what Call of Duty used to do, like constantly like revolving between the studios to have a brand new one come out every single year. I mean, they kind of are doing that, but like it got out of hand at one point. Maybe you could do something like this where it's like, especially when your franchise makes a big jump at some point to like a slightly evolved style where it's not quite like the original entries used to be. And there are some fans who want that older style. Like Assassin's Creed is definitely right for that. I would say Zelda is like that, like what we're seeing there do with the new Echoes of Wisdom, and then still making big Breath of Wild style ones every few years. So I think that could be viable for sure.
You got a Black Flag remake, yeah, for sure. I would play that. Another quote says there are a lot of good things to come, including Assassin's Creed Hexe, which we've announced due to witches, dude. I'm into it. Which is going to be a very different game from Assassin's Creed Shadows. We're going to surprise people, I think. So yeah, that seems fun. Right. Last one here is Velen Studios, makers of Knockout City and Mario Kart Live, are making Midnight Murder Club, quote, a new heart-pounding and hilarious first-person shooter party game for friends. So don't play it with people you don't like. The game is due to release on PC this fall. I have more information in an email here. Okay. It's a tense first-person shooter party game of hide and seek and shoot in the dark, coming to PC via Steam this fall. In Midnight Murder Club, the unique pitch-black gameplay and 4 thrilling modes have players slowly creeping through the inky darkness of an old Victorian mansion, armed with only a flashlight and a revolver, trying to complete their mission and survive. As they navigate through the dark hallways, they must keep an eye out for other club members that might be hiding in the shadows, more than willing to kill to be the last one standing. All modes of play will test players' wits as they navigate through complete darkness with only a flashlight to complete their survival mission. Honestly, that sounds kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like, that could be a great stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like the rest is kind of just, sick.
Yeah.
That sounds fun, actually. Okay, now we are into Love and Respect. I don't have Rufus, so let's just acapella it like the old days. Ba 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 da ba 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 da ba ba ba.
Love and Respect.
Perfect.
There we go.
We nailed it.
You're the best.
From Sultab. Hi, allies. With the release of Dawntrail, I would like to know what each ally's favorite taco place and filling for a big fat taco. Mine is Chipotle beef taco with roasted corn cheese, mixed lettuce, and pico de gallo. That's theirs. Is there a big fat taco in Dawntrail, Damiani?
This is a meme.
Okay.
There technically is, but this is a meme that's been years in the making. So you kind of like have to be there for it. Sure. But yes, there is a big fat taco in the trailer as well for Dawntrail. And the
Oh,
movie you'll watch at the beginning before you play. Yeah, there's a big fat
okay.
taco. Yeah, sure.
What's your favorite taco, Damiani?
So the probably like one of the best tacos I had was a place called Tacos Por Favor in LA.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
Tacos
that
P,
place
dude.
Tacos P is
Tacos P,
amazing.
dude.
I do miss it a lot. But they also like, great burritos, but like their tacos were fantastic. Also like countless street taco vendors
Yeah.
in LA as well. They're
You can't
amazing.
go wrong with just
Yeah.
like a street taco in LA. Like pretty much any little
Yeah.
stand. Even like simple ones that I get like it's like chicken, lettuce, and onions, and I'm just like, why is this so good?
I
I like
will
them pretty plain, but it's just like there's still like all kinds of flavor in there.
I will, almost like any protein in a taco when it's like good enough of these, so I've done like shrimp, beef, chicken, pork.
Yeah.
I've done like veggie ones as well. I definitely did, like, was it sofritas, right?
Yeah.
I've definitely like tried those, and like just everything they do, like just the toppings and the seasoning and the sauces they mix in them, just so good. But if you're like, generally my go-to is just like the rice protein, usually pico de gallo.
Yeah.
I do like guacamole, really like guacamole, and then like a kind of like red salsa as well, where this is like salsa roja or like red hot sauce, like whatever you want. Not necessarily like a regular hot sauce. Not thinking about like tapatio or anything like that. Yeah, more of like the thick red sauce that you see, that like you see you get enchilada style sometimes, like for a burrito. That type of like hot sauce, I like really like that. Like, and then just even like salsa fresca. Sometimes some places do like a good salsa fresca, which is nice to like mix in as well. So yeah, I really like the combination of like, onions and tomatoes in there, and those types of like sauces based on that, rice, the meat, and guacamole is just
good Mexican rice with beans and guacamole and just like chicken and onions, dude. It's like, and like for me, like I'm kind of sick of home state and like Loki and stuff, like the more like kind of like white like Americanized like tacos.
Yes.
Like I really love you, like you pretty much can't go wrong with just like some of the best tacos I've ever had are like there's like a it's a permanent building, but like you order outside and there's like 2 tables, to sit on.
Okay,
and like it's really simple stuff, but it's like it's basically street tacos, but they have a building, or like a lady just like with like a grill on a little mobile stand, like out after a concert or something, just like outside on the sidewalk, dude. Like LA, we are spoiled for like excellent street tacos.
Very
it's incredible here.
I will say, like, even for like fast food, like sometimes like even like certain like Taco Bell tacos, the lava sauce, like when they had like the lava tacos or whatever, volcano tacos. Like there's some like one-off things that some fast food things do. Like it's like fun guilty pleasure. My favorite protein probably though is pollo asado. I absolutely like, that's probably my favorite. And the other thing is like the correct use of fusion, not the gimmicky use of fusion a lot of restaurants do, where they just don't have a concept and they're just like throwing it out there. Like when you get like a good blend of different like culinary cultures, like Kogi truck, where it has like it's Korean tacos and Korean burritos. Oh my god. They're very famous and a little bit like played out, but if you're from the West Coast, but like if you're maybe not from there, you're maybe not as familiar with them. It's like like years ago when they first started in like the street truck craze, like back at when we were working at Viacom and they would come out there. It was like, oh man, first time I tried them, I was like, this is so good.
Dude, there's an Indian burrito fusion place called Frankie Bombay, and damn it, they are so good. They're so good.
So I am.
It's gonna
always
be lunchtime.
Open to that.
Can you tell, chat?
Oh, I'm good on lunch.
For you,
It's I'm looking forward to my cheat dinner tonight as well. But
Yeah, I've got a bunch of people coming over in a couple hours, or in like a half hour actually, and we're gonna have Indian food and play Magic the Gathering, and that's always a
Ooh.
fun time.
Nice. Yeah,
Um,
I had Popeyes for lunch, and I might get a Stromboli for dinner. You know what that
ooh,
is? Yeah,
I don't.
basically a giant pizza, basically like a rolled pizza, like pizza roll, but like a big one.
How's
There's
it?
calzone, which is like the stuffed thing that looks like a
Okay,
UFO shaped thing, like a
yeah,
half thing. But Stromboli is like pizza burrito, I guess, but like it's
okay,
wrapped, like it's like not wrapped, but like it's rolled, like like a cinnamon roll, like how that's rolled, and
sure.
like the pizza and toppings are like rolled in it.
Do they
This is where
just
Don
take?
probably gets the flip pizza thing from. He probably is
Do,
thinking of a fucking Stromboli.
he,
Like,
we don't need to get into that. Do they
eh.
just take a piece of pizza and roll it like a
Not real. It's
blunt?
the dough. It's like I think they take the dough, they put the toppings, and sauce, and then they didn't roll it into the roll there, and then it's like cooked, baked,
Oh,
put
okay.
into the oven and bake that way. But yeah, if you Google image it, it looks like a big long pizza roll. It usually is cut up though, so like you can get it cut up or just get the whole thing like the loaf style.
Sure.
But yeah, it's usually pretty good because it's great for dipping into like the into
Oh,
your sauce of your choice. If you want to go with your your pizza sauce, you can dip it into that, or if you want to go for different like a ranch or something, you get like a pepperoni one. It's very good for that. Whereas like calzone, you kind of like need like a fork and knife to like eat that, unless it's like small and compact. Then you can like Pizza Hut used to do one that was like okay to hold, but like real ones are kind of like a little messy if you try and hold and eat them. You kind of need to
yeah.
like break them up and eat them that way. But
Damn it,
I'm like, yeah,
Saltab.
yeah.
You got us going. Yeah. Live chat, there's a poll if you're hungry now. Vote in that. Um all right, enough about enough about street tacos. We've got yeah, I'm so hungry now. We've got one from Jeff Kendall here. My name is Kendall. I'm a model. Greetings and salutations, allies. Happy Independence Day from this Canadian ally. For Canada Day, which is July 1st, I spent the night playing on a private WoW server with some friends, raiding
Oh,
Molten Cave and Onyxia, rollbacked to Wrath of the Lich King. Sounds fun. Two
I recognize some
questions.
of those words.
I know. I was like, some of that sounds like English. Two questions. You can either pick one or do both if you want. One, what is the great gaming memory you have from this time or for this time of year? What is a great gaming memory you have for this time of year? Yeah,
Gotcha.
fireworks and barbecue and all that, but with everyone basically having the day off, do you have any favorite gaming memories, pardon me, from the 4th of July? Um, then we'll do the next one after that. Do you have anything?
Okay, so I don't know if it's exactly from the 4th of July. It was around it, but Star Fox 64 came
Hmm.
out like right around that time. And I just remember like that whole week. There was definitely like July 4th in there because it had the Independence Day level. And it was a year after Independence Day, but like it looked like it, but it was also like it's also I think they're doing this because they know it's July and people think of Independence Day, and Independence Day just came out last year. I was like,
Right.
but I absolutely remember playing a ton of Star Fox 64 over like that 1997, 97, like July 4th week or whatever. Like I don't know if I literally played it on that day, but like definitely, played it during that time period, and that's the one that probably sticks out the most.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know if
probably.
mine is literally around July 4th, but like summer break gaming memories, like my friend coming over to play, or like I had one friend who had watched me play like the Silent Hill games and stuff like that, but like my friend who stayed at my house for like a straight week and we played all of 10 and 10-2 of Final Fantasy next to each other on two different TVs for like a straight week, drinking Capri Suns ad nauseum. Like I've talked about it before, but that is a favorite memory of mine. And that's a very summer break kind of a thing. I think that might have been from college though. Like I don't remember
Okay.
what year that was, but yeah. Their second question is: are there any games you would like to play from earlier in its life cycle? I don't think I would love the private WoW server as much as I have been, or they didn't think they would love it as much as they had been. Nostalgia or whatever it is. It's just been a blast to go back in a time like this. Thanks for everything you do.
I got you. So a game in an earlier state that maybe is no longer
Yeah.
available. I mean, my obvious one, just for like, I technically played it, but it was so long ago, and yeah, I asked about it once, and it became a meme. Like, just like to try and experience like Final Fantasy 14 1.0 again,
Yeah.
just to be like,
Nightmare.
yeah, I just
Yeah.
would like, I just would love to have another like chance to check it out after seeing how much 14 has changed and improved, to be like, were there any actually good ideas in here maybe that like they could like, it's more like it's historical thing, honestly.
Yeah.
That would be like, I know it probably will not be good at all, but it's like shit. I just wish it just goes in line with like, I wish we would not lose access to certain things. It's I know logistically it's almost impossible. The things will have to like eventually like go away due to time, resources, and
Yeah.
and
This is why
priorities.
I appreciate like YouTube for this, because like, I'm perfectly happy generally looking at a YouTube video, because like I just started playing Warframe this year, right? And I love it and it's great. But literally everyone I talked to was like, I played it when it came out and it sucked ass. And then I like looked back at it and I was like, oh yeah, this did suck. But like a shocking amount of little like details, like destructible canisters and like dropping in at the beginning of the level, like looks pretty much the same. Like the sizes are different, but like
Oh,
I'm
okay.
like, I was a little surprised to see all the little tiny like inconsequential details that are kind of still there. For me, the one I would want to go back and play though in its heyday is Mist Online, like that, or like Uru,
Oh,
like that. I
yeah.
played a lot when it was in its GameFly or Game Tap, whichever days, when it was being hosted there, and it was just such a special time. Like staying up late, just chatting and like I don't know, GameSpy, whatever.
Oh,
It was fun. Like I don't know, I like Mist Online, but the Mist games are ridiculous.
so cool.
Let's play a game. Boop
Bum, bum,
boop
bum,
boo. Boop
bum.
boop boo. Boop boop boo. Boop boop boo. This file I could add later, but we're not going to because we sang it. It's funnier that way. Um. Anyway, this is from the Champ. I guess.
Okay.
Let me see. Uh, let me see if I can do this without looking at the answers. I
Okay.
have a game, quote unquote, that may drive Huber crazy, which is bummer because he's sick.
Oh,
But I have a list of words or phrases. Say the first. Okay, so this is just me reading this and you doing it, I guess. Say the
okay.
first game that comes to your mind when you hear these words.
Okay.
And I wonder if any of us will think of the same game. I guess I can still say which game comes to my mind.
Okay.
Again, the first game. So it's word association. Like what game comes to your mind? And try not to change your answers mentally. Are you ready, Damiani?
All right. Let's do this.
All right, you'll say yours first, and then I'll say mine. Okay.
Okay.
Um, number one is classic.
Mario.
I thought Resident Evil. Number two, overrated.
No. Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, I thought Overwatch, maybe just because the word over was in there. I don't know. Number three, perfect.
Ocarina of Time.
Bloodborne. Number four, patriotic.
Metal Gear Solid Revengeance.
I was thinking MGS 2. Number five, anime.
Oh, Tales of Vesperia.
I was thinking of the. Oh, I pictured the game, but I can't think of the name of it. The boob physics butt game that Huber likes. That's current.
Oh, current.
I can't think of what it's called.
Stellar Blade.
Stellar Blade. Yeah. Boob physics, the game. Six is 10 out of 10.
Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, I forgot to think of anything. I was just waiting for yours. Now Shadow of the Colossus is all I could think about.
Sorry.
I'll say that. Number seven, sexy.
Real life extreme beach ball.
Yeah. The first game that popped in my head was Bayonetta, but I don't really find that sexy. But eight, sequel.
Oh, I'm blanked. I still haven't thought of a game.
I thought Red Dead 2.
Wow. Actually, literally nothing's popped in my mind yet. Come on, mind work. Think of
You've
a
achieved
sequel.
every moment Zen, Damiani.
I know.
You've attained Satori. How does it feel?
I'm thinking of movies. Why is my head keep racing to movies? It's like, stop.
We'll
Pick a
say
game.
A movie.
Zelda 2. There we go. Jesus
All right,
Christ.
there you go. That's a good one. 9, Katana.
Ninja Gaiden.
Elden Ring. Number 10, Wallet.
That one I'm blanking on.
I thought Warframe. Mommy spends money on Warframe.
Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, I was thinking of like in-game wallets. I'm trying to think like that's my mind. But if you say money, yeah, something like Minecraft comes to mind, I guess.
Oh sure, Fortnite. Yeah.
You say like spend money on something, yeah.
Number 11, Goaty.
No.
No.
I refuse.
Maybe not. Doesn't have to be this year. I thought of Bloodborne first. Boring, but that's what happened.
So GOAT, the greatest of all time?
Goaty, it's game of the year.
Mm.
It's a word association game. You have to just say what comes in.
But like my mind went to like this year and I'm like, I don't want to say anything yet. Let's pick a year. Pick a year. Just throw out a year.
1997.
Star Fox 64.
Oh, the correct answer was Symphony of the Night, which might have been 98.
I forgot about that. That's
Final Fantasy XIV was 97 also.
All right, that's the real one.
What am I doing? 12, Quarter Circle Forward.
Hadouken.
Yeah, Street Fighter is what I thought of. 13, Shotgun.
Doom.
Resident Evil, I thought of. 14, Epic.
Gears of War.
I thought Fortnite. The branding got me. 15, Super Famicom.
Zelda. I like the Triforce of the Gods.
I also thought. I thought the first thing that came to my mind was actually the Zelda CDI games, which is wrong, but that's what popped into my head. Okay, that was a fun game. Thank you, the champ. I liked that. Word association is fun for me. I enjoy it. All right, now it's time for bets. This week's bet, we didn't do bets. I forgot.
Oh.
Just say a thing when we when we get to it.
All right, yeah, because it's only the two of us.
It's only the two of us. Fuck it. Angerfoot is out next week on July 11th in the launch trailer or most recent trailer. How many kicks will we see from the player's character? Which is good because we don't have time to like research it. I'm gonna write down a number before you say anything.
We should say it at the same time.
Okay. Do you have your number?
Yes.
Okay. I will count you in. I have my number.
Right.
We'll go 3, 2, 1, and then say it. Okay.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. 39.
47.
Okay. 47. Agent 47 for Damiani and 39 for me. Last week's bet, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD came out this week. We checked on the top 10 English reviews, I love these, on OpenCritic to find how many times we would find the word Mario. Luigi's last name and his brother, Mario. Huber said 9. Damiani said 19. I said 16. Dawn said 14. I'm missing everyone, being out of town or sick. Thank you, Damiani, for holding it down with me. Gabby said 15. Blood said 24. Gaming Bolt said 0. IGN had 1. Destructoid had 1. The Sixth Axis had 0. Shack News had 0. God is a Geek had 0. I'm surprised by this. WCCF Tech had 0. Cog Connected had 0. Trusted Reviews had 5. There we go. And Nintendo Life had 1, making the total 8, which means Huber missed it by 1, dude.
Jeez. Wow, Huber.
Yeah, so that Huber's not here, so he'll have to do his sounds, and well, his sound is like, but,
pretty much.
It's awful what he does, but he'll get to do his winner stuff later, perhaps. Anyway, the scores are 9 for Stealthy Centipede, 6 for Effervescent Hippopotamus, 4 for me, the Wet Hummingbird, 4 for Pompous Cocker Spaniel, Damiani, 4 for Optimistic Rat, and 3 for Fashionable Manatee. Optimistic Rat is Gabby. Let me tell you about patreon.com/easy allies.
Yeah.
That's where we go. That's the gas in the car, baby. If you want to put some gas in the tank, keep us going. The best way to do that, honestly, probably join at $5. You get a lot of bang for your buck for that. You get the Discord, you get things early and ad-free, the podcast. You get to hear the love and respect questions that we do. Bonus love and respect questions for patrons only. You can submit questions to Love and Respect. You get in on that Discord. You vote on those top 10s. It's magnificent. And if you want to show a little more love, the $10 tier, you get contributions to Community Showcase and Stream Team and all that kind of stuff. If you want to see your name at the end of this podcast, you can do a little more. There's all kinds of choices. But the bread and butter, honestly, is that $5 tier. So if you think you can spare $5 and you like Discords and you like getting things early with no ads, chuck us $5. It would really help us out. It would mean a lot to us. And we thank you very much for that. Our top tier gets shout outs. Our top tiers get shout outs. How does language work?
Sorry.
And those are Jabawabs, Elthanis, and Forever Ender. Shout out.
Shout out.
Thank you to them. As far as promotions go, we've got Kunitsugami preview that just went up. Huber and I talked about that. That game is sick, dude. That game is actually fun as hell. We really liked it. I'm kind of surprised and kind of not, because it's like it feels like one of those games that's been missing and you didn't realize you've been missing it. Weird game of the year for sure, Tokyo Slim. Yeah, it's really fun. Check that video out. Damiani had a full playthrough of Dawntrail. You mad lad? Are you done with it now? You finished it, streaming it?
I finished the story.
Nice.
Because there's a promotion going on for the month, I'll probably keep streaming it every now and then because you get drops. So it's a good time to be streaming it right now. Like, we had pretty good viewers throughout it. It was probably we got a few raids, but I think in general, once things got going, we were nearly at average 100 people are watching. Usually nice. It's a little bit below it, but then we get the occasional raid or Kyle raid, which would push it really high. So nice. But yeah, those drops definitely help pad your numbers, but take advantage of it while it's going on, because it's only going to last till the end of this month. Yeah.
And we got some other cool streams coming. I think Gabby and Sophia are going to stream a honor mode multiplayer of BG3, so that'll be pretty sick. Also, we did Chain Together last Tuesday for group stream, which we were getting all pretty stressed out. It was a lot of fun. We had Sophia and Tokyo Slim there with us in person. Poor Huber was already starting to feel sick, and then his power went out, so he was only there for half of a online run with me, which went pretty well until he disappeared. And we're gonna try to do a Trash Babies next week on stream, hopefully with Omar. He's gonna guest. Huber might, I think, still be in the contagious window, so maybe I will, he won't come into the office, but maybe he can do it over the internet like Damiani does. But Trash Babies is a lot of fun. We play games that get a 60 or less on Metacritic, and then we decide if we like them or hate them. Trash or treasure. Hell yeah. Damiani, we get to split the outro crap because we're the only ones here. So
that's very true.
You want to shout something out, get a final word, or do your trademark sign off? What do you want to do?
Do you have anything that you're really burning for, or you just kind of indifferent today?
I'll do whatever you don't do.
That's a good response. Well, let's see. Final word or shout out. Dang. I don't feel like I want to do another final word because maybe I don't know. Do you have anything you really want to say for final word? Because I guess I could, since I talked about a lot of stuff, I guess.
I can do the shout out and the sign off if you want to do the final word.
Okay, that works.
Sure. Shout out.
Yeah.
watch the interview with the vampire on AMC Plus.
Oh, nice.
It's good. What's your final word?
Final word is that I understand if you have your gripes about Dawntrail's like story, but try just giving it a chance under the mindset that this was trying to be like a new starting point. And if you could remember how A Realm Reborn went for you, like how you feel about A Realm Reborn, like most people do, you have to develop characters again. You have to start somewhere. Yeah. I get it's like, well, we've done all this already. We like develop characters, but you got new characters. You have to develop them. Otherwise, you're just going to feel no attachment to them when you start moving into like deeper narrative stuff. So yes, it's a necessary part of the process. And I understand like maybe it could have been done like there's a way to do it better, probably, for sure. Like, I'm not that skilled at writing to be able to like say one way or the other, but it felt like it did a very like I still felt the narrative was decent and it was a good starting point, and I think it will largely depend on where they go. But like, yeah, I just try reframing it that, and if you still don't like it that way, cool, then that's fine. It's not everything's for everyone. So I do think there are a decent amount of people who came in expecting we got to one up Endwalker, and it's like, what? There's no way this is gonna like. What are you talking about? Like, they're not gonna be stakes. Like,
it's
like
the
you
beginning.
Can't do that. Yeah, it's the beginning again. So yes.
I'm gonna cheat a little bit and say a kind of a little thing here. I want to thank everyone for bearing with us as we changed our schedule so much this week. We had people out of town, and Huber was feeling sick, and so we were not really sure when we were going to do the podcast this week. But we got to it here Saturday as we're filming this. Damiani and I. Thank you, Damiani, for. I know you've got family in town and stuff that you're doing for the holiday. And thank you to Blood for prepping the rundown, even though he's also out of town. Because Huber was going to be hosting this, but then he was sick, so it was kind of an audible last minute that I took it over. Also, just thanks to patrons and mods and everybody for everything. Good night and good game.
No.